Okay, so sure. Welcome all of you one more time. And Scrum Master interview question part 2 today. So I'm just gonna go through all the question one more time quickly, and also what I discussed about last time. So we are not just gonna discuss about the questions and answers, but what is the approach and what is the basics that you must know before you face any interview. Okay. So yeah, that's me. My name is Vijay Vade. People call also on the Western world Vijay Vade. So I'm a human being in progress. I'm a founder of three different companies. One of the NGO. One is Agile Practitioners Group of India. That's a social agility group in India that's now also started in UK. So we are one of the representative, one of the team members from us who's actually handling the UK group. There are also requests from other countries to start it there. So it's a free knowledge sharing group. Many of the companies are funding us, and we also have every year a big conference which is also supported by Scrum Alliance. I also founded a Green Incubator Foundation that helps this earth. We want to make it green for the next generations. Self-sustaining jungles by Miyawaki technique. That's our you know recipe to it. And we also help the uh, incubator kind of functionality where in new startups, so we also help them in a way. uh, I am an enterprise coach with so many companies. Here you can see the names. I'll not go into details. My area of expertise in this particular section is Scrum, Lean Kanban, Agile coaching, Safe, DevOps, and there are many things. Okay. Hobbies, I'm a marathoner. I run 42 kilometers marathon. Every year I implement, agile concepts in my running also and improve my timing. So I started with about 6 hours plus timing, first 42-kilometer marathon. Implementing agile principles, I reached up to 3 hours and 53 minutes. That is my fastest time. Uh, yeah, I have a lot of interest in understanding brain plasticity in the sense at any age, any point of time, you can actually change the way you think, change the way you behave, change the way you act. Because this has changed my life. Understanding these concepts, and I like to change the way it happens to me, and I don't really. It unfolds like I am responsible for whatever is happening in this world or with me, and that's how it really helps me. Photography is also my passion. Yeah. Apart from that, okay, let's move on. So facts about Scrum Master, demand, requirements, and perks we discussed last time. So let us understand quickly what are the practices you should know. That's what also we'll understand. So what are the practices we should know? I'm not going to tell you from my experience. This is what scrum.org has done a survey recently. You can find it on their website also. So what are practices are in demand or in addition you should know apart from Scrum? 81% of the people or Scrum Masters are saying Kanban, 55% DevOps, TDD 34%, and 27% XP. So you definitely can expect the questions in this ratio in your interview. That would help you. How many certifications you should have? Many of the Scrum Masters ask me. So I said, let me put it from the survey point of view. So scrum.org got this survey, and 55% of the people who responded to this survey across the world, they are having one certification. 22% of the people are having two certifications. 11% of the people, three certifications. Okay, and so on. Yeah, just for the knowledge. Is certification necessary? That's a very, very interesting question. Many of the people ask me. So I tell them, because I am on panel of many of the companies, I'm taking a lot of interviews for Scrum Masters and other roles, even POs and other relevant roles, even developers kind of, So I know there is a trend, what kind of things are happening. So many of the times, if you are being hired internally, certification may not be necessary. But if you go outside, that may be important. So let's see the survey here. So what it says, if you start bottom there, 3% of the people on the left side are with certification, 9% of the people are without certification. If you see the salary band there, that is more than $24,999. So about $25K. In that range, this is the ratio. If you go a little above than that, so you'll find that if you go towards more and more salary package, without certification, people are less and less, up to 1%. And on the left side, certification people are more and more. So I'm just showing you the trend here. I'm not recommending you to do any certification or not to do certification. It's your life. Just know what world is doing. That's what is my try here. What are the salaries for Scrum Masters? So let's see here, you see the price bands here. This is on the black side, on the right side. 8% of the people who were in survey are getting $150,000 or more. And on the left side, you see 8% of the people are about $25,000 or less. So this is how it looks like, okay? Now, this dollar salary, it attracts everyone. So let's see country-wise or maybe the continent-wise how it looks like. So if you see, this is the continent view: North America, Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, Oceania. So these are the ratios, if you can actually see there, and this is the price band. You can just take a screenshot, or you can actually go to scrum.org website and just find this survey. Okay, you can just say that Scrum Master trends in 2020. This is the keyword. If you just find it, you can also find it on Google, and you will find this survey there. Okay. Now let's go. Any questions before we go into this topic based on this survey? Or do you agree to it? Okay, if none of you have any questions, or yes, Anuj says on the chat, yes, agreed. Okay, yeah, that's good. Thank you, Anuj, for replying. So you can also reply on the chat, just for your information. So let's go deep dive into topic. Scrum Master needs more of right attitude than and more of the knowledge. That's what is, my experience. When you go into your interview, it is your knowledge that counts, definitely. But more that counts is your attitude, because you are being hired in a setup to create a culture, of improvement, to create a culture of data orientation, to create a culture of helping each other, to create a culture of leading by example. Now what you should have a right attitude. Sometimes, I will tell you from my experience, we have kept aside the knowledge part if the attitude was really, really great. I'll give you two or three examples wherein we literally said knowledge is not so important here. Here, the attitude is most important, and we have hired people with the best attitude. And what kind of attitude we'll discuss a little later. Okay, so what are the characteristics of a good Scrum Master? So attitude, or something I was saying, this is here. A person who has good listening skills. And where do you show that? Definitely, it's in your interview. Okay, how do you show that? By understanding what the other person wants to convey to you. By being a very collaborative person, or showing smile or right gestures in time. Appropriately truthful. I don't say that absolutely truthful, because we are working into this world of, divided by continents and countries and boundaries. And also organizations are sometimes a little bureaucratic environment or something like that. So I won't say that absolutely 100% truthful. You should be able to, mask certain data, but generally reveal the data that is generally available, can be available for the public domain. So don't shy away from sharing your data, even some of the not so good aspects of your life. Don't worry about it, especially if it's in the professional domain. Down to earth. You don't showcase that you are the master of everything, because if you're master of everything, there is very less scope for improvement. If you're master of everything, how would you handle your team? You might go into autocratic way. So that's the key. Open-minded, not aggressive about whatever you did cannot go wrong or didn't go wrong. It can go wrong, because this is what is a learning space. Be open-minded. Tell, yeah, I have also faltered sometimes. If it's a real case study from your life, you can show that. You can showcase that. Collaborative. I need not go into this. Effective facilitator. Now, how can you show it in your interview? Can anybody answer here? How can you show your facilitation skills in interview? Any examples?
Yeah. Do you mean in the context of the interview itself, or you mean in your role as a Scrum Master?
In role as a Scrum Master, you can convey by words, but how you can showcase it inside an interview?
Hmm.
If I
Can
can
you?
try to answer,
Yes, sure.
uh, in an interview session, by active listening, contextualizing,
Mhm.
and time boxing,
Mhm.
making answers to the point, not beating around the bush,
Awesome.
sticking to the context, and time boxing.
Very good. Time boxing and all. So this is what is required. If you actually, elongate your answers and you make it lengthy, it's not a good facilitator sign, right? Sometimes you may ask that I would like to draw something so that, it's easy for me to make you understand. Don't tell interviewer that you will understand it better if I draw it or something like that. Tell that, it would be easy for me, to convey the point really, really well. So you can also use some visible indicators. Lead by example. Yeah, this part should be coming throughout your interview. Coaching potential. You should showcase something that you coached someone, and if you showcase that, that would be really, really interesting. You really make a case for yourself. As I told you right in the beginning, in my experience, the knowledge of Scrum Guide or general aspects of Scrum or agility are sometimes less important than your attitude. And you should showcase your attitude. Resourceful, solution focused, positive attitude, experimental. Let's try. You know, if the interviewer, generally in Scrum Master interview, people would like to put you into a situation, okay, and they would like to give you, if I am your team member, these things are not working, and me and my team is suggesting this, and your knowledge says that it won't work. Now I would test you. What would you do in that interview? Whether you just hop onto the solution mode, or you will showcase an attitude of let's try. Okay, you can also show certain examples from your life that yes, I have done these kind of things in my lifetime as a Scrum Master or when I was part of a team, and it worked. So it's worth giving it a try. Okay, but we should discuss amongst the team members, and then you come out with okay, whether to go ahead or not to go ahead. Okay, so it's a common discussion. So that's how let's try attitude. Create environment for psychological safety. That's really, really important. You as a Scrum Master, if you understand psychological safety for you as an individual, for your Scrum Master, for your product owner, for anybody inside your team, that is really, really important. And you should know what psychological safety aspects are. Sometimes it actually changes continent wise or country wise. Psychological safety aspects for India are a little different than it might be in Canada or UK or Netherlands. So that might change. So you have a sensitivity towards your location also, or what kind of location or what company you are actually interviewing with. Approachable, you should be always approachable, available, open-minded, protective if required. You should be able to protect your team. And if you showcase that kind of example, sometimes that would be really good. That would make a case for you. No Scrum and Agile, yeah? Up to certain level, definitely. And the experiences. You should be a community builder. If you are a team maker, then you should have an attitude towards making community. So if you can showcase certain things that I met some small community inside the organization, outside the organization, it's not a problem. Even if you're a community member, that also showcase that you know how the knowledge flows through community. Yeah. So these are the things mostly you should be having as a characteristic of a good Scrum Master. Okay. So let me go to the next one. This is utmost important. If you are going for a Scrum Master interview, you must understand this. The whole Scrum and agility is based on empiricism. What is empiricism? Especially Scrum, if you are implementing, we implement Scrum in an environment which is complex in nature. So if there is a product or a project scenario, you know everything, absolutely clear. Maybe sometimes, you are reverse engineering a product. Everything is clear. Should you implement Scrum? Should you implement Scrum? Maybe, may not be. So you will say that maybe, may not be. If it's a complex situation, then definitely Scrum would give you better value. But if it's not a complex situation, everything is known, so implementing Scrum might also have a certain overheads in such a scenario. Where Scrum gives the better value in the complex adaptive scenario, wherein the unknown factors are more than knowns, and you can be knowing those factors only by experimenting. In those cases, Scrum is more beneficial. And this is called as empiricism. What is empiricism? For any area of implementation, unknowns are more than knowns, and knowns can be revealed only when you actually implement something. So you implement one feature, and after that you get to know more and more things that would be helpful for another features to be implemented. Okay. So what empiricism says? Empiricism says learning can happen only by implementation. Okay. And there are three aspects or three pillars of empiricism: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Throughout your interview, you must not forget this empiricism three pillars. You should have a transparency, you should have inspection, you should inspect, and you should adapt. Sometimes, if your interviewer put you in a situation that I want to implement this, how would you help me? So you as a Scrum Master, if I am a Scrum Master, what I would say, okay, I will try to understand what this is exactly. If somebody have already done it, okay, then by little bit of implementation, would like to inspect it, how it is working. And if things are going good and team says yes, then we will adapt whatever we have learned from this. This is a typical nature of any agile implementation. Okay, so knowledge comes from experience. You should not forget this. Even in interviews, knowledge comes from experience. Yeah, we have discussed last time about knowledge and experience, what you should have. Handy tools and knowledge before you go for interview. I'll not go into details. Facilitation techniques. You must know certain facilitation techniques. These days, the interviewers are getting gung-ho about the facilitation techniques because they know there are certifications around facilitation techniques, and that's why people are knowing more and more things about it. Because as a Scrum Master, you must be a good facilitator. Retrospective technique. There are multiple techniques. You must have your own technique, and there are thousands of different ways of doing retrospective. So you must be having some hands-on about this. Now let's go into situation. What we discussed last time was, why is the daily stand-up important? We discussed last time. How can a Scrum Master track the progress of a sprint? Okay. how is estimation in Scrum project done? You can find all the answers in the recordings that I showed you on the YouTube. Okay. What motivates you to be a servant leader? Okay. What do you believe the role of Scrum Master is? How it is different than a project manager? We discussed last time. Okay. Uh, the only key tester is not available, goes on emergency leave. We discussed last time. Velocity is stable and declining since long time. Product owner is authoritative. This is what we have not discussed last time well in depth, so that we'll cover today. Product owner is authoritative and demanding. We discussed last time. Scrum master and product owner is the same person. Okay. This I'm going to show you one video. Team do not like the daily Scrum and don't join in time. This is what we discussed last time. So product owner and Scrum master is the same person. If you want to know what happens, let me take you to the YouTube channel. On YouTube, you can find this video. Say, write Chetrong, you'll find his funny videos. And there's a video here. Chetrong, the wrong way to do agile team structure. That would answer your question. You know, what happens if Scrum Master and Product Owner are same? What we discussed a little bit last time is by nature, by demand, by virtue of responsibility and accountability, these two roles are different roles and should be done by different people or different entities, because the nature or demand itself is contradictory. And if you would like to bring in, there would be a lot of chaos in your brain, whether I should act as a Scrum Master or as a product owner in the given situation. And that battle would generally end up making you the product owner, because product owner is more authoritative, takes a lot of decision. And hence, since you enjoy more control there, you tend to become a product owner. That's what we discussed a little bit last time, but you see this video, that would be really, really interesting for you. I'll just let me put it into the chat here. Okay, can you see it in chat? It's
Yes.
Okay. And he has whole lot of interesting videos. And interestingly, what he does is he tells you how not to do things rather than how to do things. And people generally like, if you stop them from doing certain things, like kids, you know, they do it. So this is the way he actually makes his video. So it's really, really interesting way. So let me go to our topic one more time. And we discussed about these scenarios. So we'll discuss about new scenarios today. So first scenario, product owner is authoritative and demanding. What is your answer? We discussed last time. What is your answer? Anybody here? Imagine that you're in an interview. The first question, what interviewer is looking for from you? What things he or she is looking for you?
To protect the team from the authoritativeness of product owner.
Okay.
Within the sprint boundaries, of course. And maybe his authority and demandingness can help to build, to groom the product backlog better and have a sprint backlog ready before the sprint. But it cannot be changed. It should not be changed within the time span of the sprint.
Sure.
Product owner telling the developers what to bring in the sprint backlog without even listening to them.
Okay. Good. This is one of the scenario, right? You're telling.
Because I have faced the other way around, where the product owner is not very responsive and not available for the product backlog grooming. before the
Huh?
sprint, and it becomes very chaotic. Like, he comes with the explanation of the user stories somewhere around the first 2 days of sprint. So
Okay,
yeah.
And in my
let's,
own
yeah,
opinion, in order to uh kind of assist in resolving this purported chaotic situation, you may want to, apart from helping protecting your team, you may want to identify what the product owner is putting this kind of attitude. How, sometimes, being that the product owner is a representative of the stakeholder, they act under immense pressure sometimes, and as a result of that, I mean, they cannot help, and especially the product owners that are used to the typical waterfall approach, So you may want to help them out as well by identifying why, they doing what they're doing. They being autocratic, and you let them know the implication of it, and uh, you can even suggest approach on a better approach on how they could relate to stakeholders, how they could manage the stakeholders, and how uh, things could be done better in such a way that he or she would not be transferring the pressure down to the team, which could give us suboptimal delivery. Thank you.
very good.
Yes, and I
So,
agree with him.
yeah,
Absolutely. We need
yeah.
to understand, we need to get into the product owner's shoes first, have like a coaching conversation with that person and see what
Mhm.
are the reasons of that, him or her being that demanding. And what are the things that we can do to improve or to get what the product owner wants? Like having a coaching conversation with the product owner in this situation.
Very good. So I liked what you said, Anuj. I mean, everyone's answer is there, but Anuj, be in the shoes of the product owner. Now, be in the shoes of the product owner. Now, imagine if the product owner is not authoritative and not demanding, what would happen?
Then the more chaos happens in that case, because your
Yes,
product sprint backlog is not ready, it's not groomed, and
yeah,
it causes more harm than any good.
okay.
Yeah, the product owner
Now,
is not driving value or optimizing
yes,
value.
yes. And I think most of the times when I threw this question to interviewees, majority of the people generally came out with one answer, and that's I will protect my team. Yes, and this is what generally people tend to go when I say two words, authoritative and demanding. The counter, the counter word for this is definitely protection. So the interviewer is actually playing with your mind, and you are falling into that trap. So what you should think, okay, should product owner be authoritative and demanding? So be it. It's a personality trait. I, as a Scrum Master, what is my role? To bring in objectivity on the table. So I do not really believe in what kind of traits people have. What I believe in is the objectivity. I would like to bring in objectivity by virtue of my facilitation skills. Sometimes, if required, I would also be a coach. So how I would answer, and some of the answers, I really got some of the good answers also. So be it, no problem. It's a personality trait. And a product owner should be authoritative sometimes and also demanding. That brings in a continuous improvement attitude that gives a stronger goal. So be it. And as a Scrum Master, I would like to utilize his or her authoritative and demanding nature to the benefit of continuous improvement. You know, softly I will protect my team also, but in the given situation, I would help or utilize that to create a goal and set a goal for a team and help people, to move on, create the sense of urgency. Majority of the times, if sense of urgency isn't there, system might go a little low or slow, so human nature is you also need some sense of urgency for achieving something. So that's it. Okay. So what should be a general answer? Yes, it's fine, no problem. Product owner by nature should be authoritative and demanding. However, it should be a balanced approach. In bringing that balanced approach, I might act sometimes as a coach, as a protector to team. Also, I would sometimes be with the product owner if the demands are really, really genuine. So that's okay. However, balancing the situation is where my role comes in, and that's why I have experience in my past, and I could handle those situations really, really well. You can give one of the examples, because here the interviewer is just not asking your theoretical example, is also checking the knowledge and also your experience. These are the questions wherein you sense whether he or she is asking for the experience also. If you give an experience kind of thing here, because it's a very hardcore question, if you give experience, that would be really good and a case for you. Scrum Master, product owner is the same person we have discussed. Now, what is your primary focus when setting up a new team? I'm sorry, that's a spelling mistake. Setting up a new team. What would be your primary focus? You are a Scrum Master. Yes, please go on. Who would like to go now? Imagine you are sitting in the, yes, Jared.
Yeah, so my primary focus would firstly observe my team. So I want to take the approach of, say, the Tuckman model, or another way you could word it is meet the team where they're at, and firstly go through an observation process where you're getting to know how the team work together, the team dynamics, and how they face challenges, and then how they flow through their sprint. And once you understand these kind of things, then you can take the approach of having your one-to-one, getting to, connecting with your team, and then coming up with improvements or better ways of working. Thank you.
Sure.
In my own,
anyone else? Yeah.
In my own approach, I would want to identify what my organization goals and vision is like, both in a short and in a long term, as far as agility is concerned. Then be sure if there's any areas we need to put a little bit of touch to, in order to set that pipeline for where we're going. Because at the end of the day, we need organization support. This team need organization support in order to, embrace, this new culture. And second, I would want to observe my team to see, in terms of team dynamics, what they understand about Scrum and Agile principles and values, and take very careful, close look and see individual what they need, what they envision for themselves, playing their role, what they expect from the organization in the short time and the long time, and see if what I gather from the top, it's correspond with what they envision. If not, I'll initiate an effort to align the visions and their goals, and then I can, go on and see where areas of improvement, what needs to be done, maybe workshop to let them see the values, and we grow together. Thank you.
Okay, good.
Can I say
Sure.
something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, as a Scrum Master, my primary focus would be to understand to make sure, not make sure, but to facilitate that the team settles down perfectly. They have the compatible personality. They form up as a team, not just a set of individuals. And a knowledge about Agile and Scrum comes after that. But before that, they have to set up as a team. Compatible personalities.
compatible personalities. Okay, good. I have asked this question in with half of the interviews, I believe, I've taken for different companies. The very first thing that happens is people generally latch on to certain assumptions. What are the assumptions? The assumption is it's an absolutely new team. But there are things hidden in this particular question. When do you form a new team? Archana, when do you form a new team? How many cases? Different cases.
Starting a new project.
Starting a new project, yes. So it means the product is already there, but you're starting a new project. Very good. What is another case?
The product has been like migrated to a new brand. This thing, new brand.
Okay.
A transition from waterfall to agile.
Transition. Okay.
Transition.
Yes. What else? If you are scaling, there is one team, and then you want to scale now to a different team. What else? There are multiple scenarios. The very first thing I told you in the Scrum Master characteristics is listening. Listening is not just listening to words in the question. Listening is what is the intent and how can you break that question into multiple parts. So I would definitely like, as an interviewer, my interviewee ask me, yeah, that's a very good question. So you are also telling me as an interviewer, yeah, that's a very good and very intriguing question, something. But from my experience, there are multiple different scenarios I can form a new team. Okay. So my answer would be different from those scenario perspective. If I'm forming a new team for a new product, my strategy would be different. If I'm forming a team when I'm scaling up, one team is already there. We want to speed up the functionality delivery, and then we want to scale and form a new team. I might do earlier team members to bring into a new team and then adding more new team members in both the teams. That's my approach would be. If it's absolutely new product, new team, then I would look at, was Samik said, I would look at the kind of personalities that I would like. I would look for the domain knowledge and so many things. So what should be the answer? Very simple one-liner answer. It depends on the situation, what I'm put into. Like it's a new team, new product, or scaling down scenario, something like that, or maybe someone said transition. So it depends. So what you are doing, if you answer this question really elaborately, it might take you 15 minutes, but you can stop it here saying that it depends on the situation. So if you can give me a situation, I would like to elaborate that. You are actually taking a commanding position by telling this, the interviewer himself or herself, whatever question you ask is a very big question. Would you like to break it for me? You are in a commanding position. Next, velocity is consistently going down for your team. What will you do as a Scrum Master? Who goes next?
Maybe first I will find out, like I'll do retrospective on this, why the velocity is consistently going down. I would ask the team itself, like what are the reasons for this velocity, or what.
Netra, sorry to stop you. The very first thing, you as a Scrum Master, stop saying I.
Okay.
You can say I many times, but generally, when you are inclusive in nature, you should show it inclusive in nature. Your role is inclusive in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So we, if you bring in we, you need not answer so many questions. Yes, please start with we.
Yeah. That we would first retrospect on things why the velocity is going down, and once the reasons are listed down, then we can reflect upon those reasons to adapt ourselves, like how to improve it. So the first step is like do retrospective on this problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good, very good. So there are again multiple scenarios like the first question that we discussed. However, you nailed it by saying we would do a retrospective. Is it necessary to do a retrospective all the time? May not be. So you can again say that situationally, it depends. Uh, now you can tell your experience if you really have an experience. If it's a new product, what happens generally, the velocity goes up. First few sprints, Archana is also experienced on new products kind of, you may know that sometimes features are not even known. The platform is not set up. Your architectural runway is not set up well or something like that. In such a cases, velocity consistently grows up for some time. But once it goes into a little bit of maintenance mode, or even you start getting defects from the field, or the code base goes huge, in that case, what happens? The velocity generally goes down by the nature of the product itself or the situation you are into. So whether it's that situation or what kind of situation it is, so it also depends on that. So by saying that, what you're telling is, I'm experienced, and it is sometimes okay to have a velocity going down. Sometimes you might find a situation wherein you're more working on a lot of new research work. That's absolutely okay, but again, situational. But if it's the real situation, then I would ask my team, and if we agree, we can have a retrospective discussion kind of thing. So in this case, you should also showcase your knowledge. How are you showcasing your knowledge? What kind of situation you are in? You are telling that in some cases it goes down at the fag end of the product itself. It goes down, and it's very natural. But if it's a new product, so you created a commanding situation, showing your knowledge. Yes, there are situations, so that kind of situation would be really good. And how does it feel, Netra? How does it feel like when you said I earlier and when you said we? Is there any difference?
Yes, it's inclusive when we say we. Yeah.
And it's more powerful.
And I feel that there is no, like, if the moment I say I, then the team may resist if I say something, or like if anything comes up. But when we say we, then it's like, okay, we are doing it. So the productivity will be, or the positivity will be more when we use we.
The moment you say we in certain scenarios, you are showcasing your knowledge just by replacing I with we. You need not tell that, I know Scrum knowledge and team culture and something like that. How do you show that? By just replacing we with I as a Scrum Master.
Vijay, Vijay, I just want to interrupt you a little bit.
Sure.
The question which we were discussing about the velocity going down, especially at the end of the project, right? I mean, it does happen, like, especially at the end of the project. And I generally get very uncomfortable this question being asked in the interview. And I really get stumbled upon. I do not understand how to answer that question, because like, how do we as a team does? It's not just me, because it's not just this is the word which I am saying, because it's impossible. I feel that a Scrum Master is a facilitator, a process owner, but the main work which has been done and accomplished is by the architect, who is like driving it, and the test lead and the test team. So I don't know. I just feel so uncomfortable this question being asked in the interview, and I really do not understand. See, when the situation happens, we get together, we talk about it. We prioritize it. What is important, what is must, and what can stay, and then we discuss it with the PO and all the stakeholders. That is how we handle it in the real life situation. But I'm not sure how to communicate it in the interview, because just by saying that we will retrospective is not a very convincing answer. They need something. What I feel, that the interviewer, some project manager, some senior manager, hiring manager, I think that they are into that situation. That is something which they are facing over there. And many a times when they are interviewing, they are somehow trying to more than interview you, they're trying to find the solution of their own problems. That's what I feel.
Sure, you're right. You're right. You're right. So yes, so in in many of the cases, the first, if you are telling retrospective and we aspect, you are telling your Scrum knowledge. Now you can get into your experience. Many a times, interviewer will definitely ask you a second question here. We have a situation. We are at a retrospective time. What do you feel? How would from your experience? Tell me. Now, if you don't tell from your experience, he or she will ask you from your experience. So now, the basic things, don't understand technology, don't understand architecture, kind of, you are a plain Scrum Master. In such a cases,
Yeah.
with the help of the people, I would like to know, along with people, or we as people would like to know what are the showstoppers, where there is, waste in our system, waste, showstopper. Okay. Or where are the opportunities to quicken the things like automation or something like that, or maybe setting up DevOps pipeline. I cannot give you right answer right away. It depends on the situation. I would say that, in the given situation, whether automation kind of things will fasten things, or right skills aren't there. There are multiple examples. Skills aren't there. The technology is not understood. The domain is not understood. Sometimes there is a delay from product owner end for clarification. So what are the reasons? These reasons, once I know, or once we know, we would be able to take right action. We collectively kind of, you can tell one of the examples, like in my examples, this was one of the team, and we were really doing good, everything good. But, we had around 80% of the times it was manual test cases. So how would I quick it? So what we did is we discussed that is a low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit is automation, and we started automation. Yeah. And then what happened is, because of this, the amount of time that cycle time or something like that, if you know from Kanban language, you can also say that the cycle time got reduced. So by saying cycle time itself, you're showing your knowledge that you understand about cycle time. What is the cycle time? You start something, you finish something. In between, what is the time elapsed in between is a cycle time. Okay. So now in a Scrum interview, you're also telling that, yes, I know Kanban too. And from the second slide, you know that apart from Scrum, you should also be knowing about Kanban. 81% of the people are saying that Kanban is a desired knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
So team do not like daily Scrum and don't join in time. You must have experienced it if you are a Scrum Master already. What's your answer? Who would like to go next?
I generally raise it to their senior managers and make sure that they come on time. I ask them,
I like to give these a shot too.
Archana, come next time would be the answer. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know you're doing it funnily. Yes, someone is answering this.
So I want to carry out root cause analysis on this issue and find out what this team member or team why they don't like to attend, and you want to know what their perspective is and what they know, and because if one person fails in a team, the entire team fails in Scrum. So you want to be sure. You want to give them that sense of ownership. You want to give them that sense of owning something, being, because that's the hallmark, that's the basis, the premise of accountability right there. That's when they could be committed to all the ceremonies, all the effort, all the integrated effort needed to deliver, functional product for the end users. So you want to let them understand the advantages of this ceremony. Let them know it comes with opportunities, and it's an opportunity for us to be transparent and to be cross-functional, to check on us, to to introspect as a team, to see what we're doing right and what we're not doing right. And if you don't attend, I mean, if one, don't forget when I say If one team member is having issues, we all are in trouble. So you want to let them know the advantages and disadvantages of their actions, and try to help them if they're having some sort of knowledge gap, or try to help them cover it up, and then preach the values of the ceremonies to them. Coach them and let them see the values in coming in attendance. Then you want to, if they have, in case they're having any other issues, you just have to be um, you meet them where they are. Just, I think you said something like that earlier. You meet them where they are. You empathetically put yourself in their shoes, and from there you know how to assess the situation and come up with a recommendation, and so the team could be together again and sprint. It depends on the situation. So
Sure.
thank you.
Very good answer, but just a suggestion: if you can limit the number of words that you use for answering any question. Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
sir.
a good approach.
Thank you.
That's a good approach, though. Yeah, sure. So there can be different answers for this. You shouldn't go all the time to retrospective and stop there. As Archana said, not all the time. You can just say that I'll go to retrospective and nothing, I don't have any knowledge. It's in their team's control. No. You can tell here, this is a genuine problem that is experienced by many of the teams. And this happens after certain duration. Discipline is something that everyone would like to break. And how do you set a discipline? Do you know something called as a team agreement? Maybe you can take, I'll say that, many a times I know the answer. However, I would like to make it in a team discussion so that everyone is. So how would I do, interestingly, we have something called as the team agreement. I would like to come, hey guys, I see that the daily scrum is maybe not liked or something like that, but we had committed to it earlier time. So is there a change, and why there is a change? So what I'm doing is, I'm not directly going towards the retrospective, but I'm also telling my additional knowledge about the team agreement, why people are not agreeing to it. So when I say team agreement, what I am doing is, in any team, at least 30% of people are generally rule followers. The moment I say team agreement, they would say, yes, we agreed. And then I would say that why there is a lapse. So this is what you agreed on and why there is a lapse. And people might come out with their own situation. Sometimes people will come out with, yes, this time doesn't suit me. Oh, very good. Okay. So what is the right time then? Or I don't see a value in it. Oh, okay. Why don't you see value in it, kind of, Or many a times, daily scrum people not coming on time is generally a discipline factor. What happens is, if Archana is the scrum master, if one person comes late one day and Archana, just don't say anything, because you are the owner of the process. That's what she said. So what will happen? Next day, another person will come late. Next day, another person will come late. And that's how it will start happening. So controlling in time is also a very good thing. Now, if it's just a discipline factor, I would answer it. But if they do not like it at all, then I might go into a retrospective. So all the time, retrospective is not the right answer. Okay, you cannot just throw away your responsibility. This is my responsibility to make sure that it happens. Okay. Very big question. How will you make your team agile? Anyone would like to go? Very short, quick answer, please. We're already 3 minutes late, but Jared, would you like to try?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the question is, how will you make them? To me, I interpret that, how are you enforcing something? So, I mean, agile is a mindset, a psychological way of being agile. So the terminology make, it kind of throws me off. So how I would coach or not force is understand how the team, the mindset behind the team, and coming up with ways of how to get the team thinking agile and being agile.
So, can I
Yeah.
try?
Go ahead.
Yes, please.
I think by empowering them and making them accountable.
Okay, making them accountable.
Yeah,
That's a different
empowering
answer. Very
them
good.
accountable.
Mhm. What else? Good. Any other answers?
To make some team agile, I mean, even before I get into the conclusion, I need to understand which state are they in right now, and what is the definition of making somebody agile.
Mm-hmm.
How mature they are, what they understand by talking self-managing, self-organizing, what is their understanding about these things. Have they worked, do they have any previous experience in working in any agile environment? So these things I need to gather, these informations I need to gather before I really take any decision, or maybe chalk out a plan towards the goal of agility. And for that matter, agile is not a destination. It is not that I make somebody agile and my job is finished. It is a journey.
Yes, very good. So you said it right. You can say that the question is wrong. When you are a coach, when you are a servant leader, you cannot make a team agile. You help someone go agile or someone go on the agility path. How would you do that? Making sure that your team knows the agile ways of doing things. You can bring in different experiences. You can make sure that those people are exposed to agile environments. Once they know agile aspects, agile practices, how to go agile, what is the benefits of agile, now you have created an environment of knowledge. Now you would like to ask the right questions as a coach in the given situation. Is this a real way of agility? So firstly, you created the knowledge, then you nurture the ways going towards it. And also people should know about the perks of going agile. What is benefit? What's in it for them? Sometimes many of the teams even don't like agility, because I have seen some people say that in agile or in Scrum, earlier in waterfall, I was just working for 3 months very hard. The rest of the 9 months I was really enjoying. But when agility came into picture, when Scrum came into picture, what happened? We are continuously working 12 months. This is what is general phenomena that's happening across the teams. So the right thing is making sure that your team knows agile aspects, what's in it for them, what's in it for the customer, and then creating an environment of adopting agile. So people should feel good about adopting agile. And then the moment it starts, you create or nurture a scenario wherein people would be thoughtful about it, whether whatever we are doing is this agile or non-agile. Okay, that's it. Is your role. Creating that scenario, creating that culture. Then you might go into how or something like that, some examples, but this is what is the shortest answer, quickest answer that you could actually give. And then you can go into some of the examples, what I did in your own journey or something like that, that you can showcase here. But you start something like this. Yeah, okay. So I think we are, it's 8 minutes late. Jared, as I said, any last question that we can handle in last 2 minutes before we close?
You mean for my upcoming
if you have any
interview?
questions, or if anyone else has any question, last question. And something, we are also planning a panel. We would create a panel, and if you would like to get yourself interviewed, really the way it happens in your interview, we would like to create that scenario, and if you would like to volunteer someone, just let us know, and then we would create that scenario, and then we would really grill you in that interview. And if you want others to see it, we'll create that scenario that others can watch you.
If you have time. So
Okay,
regarding
last
the
one.
interview, yeah, we get like, what are the type of impediments that you face as a Scrum Master, you know? Can you give me that quick answer, like general example?
Okay, and this is a very simple question. People, can you answer types of impediments that you can get? Types of impediment that you get. Simple
Internal
but
team
tough question.
conflicts is considered as a negative thing, while it's not always negative. That's another assumption of impediment that comes from the team.
Yeah, many a times you do not directly get it served on your plate. This kind of situations you don't really get served on your plate. Okay, so if that's the question, she asked me what kind of impediments you get. Yes, definitely, this is one of the kind. What else?
The required access are not there for the team. The required environment, like IST UAT is not set up. The required servers, permissions, and in some impediments could be the dependencies. Some dependencies are not being solved within the product backlog itself.
Yes, so you can get two types of different impediments. One is intra-team that can be solved inside the team, and one outside the team. When it is outside the team, generally Scrum Master would take care of it. Intra-team, anyone can take care of this. Like Archana said, it might be technical, it might be requirement based, it might be an architectural based, it might be the continuous improvement related issues, it might be capacity related issues, it might be skills related impediments. Like someone might come to you and say that I'm not able to cope up with the velocity that everyone is actually going through because there's a skill gap here. So multiple different ways. Like first simple answer is intra and inter team or outside the team. Okay, as a Scrum Master, I generally handle outside. Inside the team, technical, architectural, dependency related, capacity related. As Archana said, it's infrastructure related impediments. Yeah, and sometimes knowledge and skills related. I do not know, product owner is not available. I'm there asking for help and I'm not getting help. These are the kind of interpersonal and sometimes intra-team conflicts or something like that you generally don't get on your platter. So these are the different kinds of impediments that you generally get.
Yes, I have one question, a follow-up question to that as well. Can you please help identify the difference between impediment and roadblock? And I don't mind if I can get one example of each because it comes up in interview.
So I'll answer this question, the last question for today. Roadblock can be one of the impediments. What is impediment? Impediment, by a generalized category, is something that either stops you or slows you down in going to your path in a normal manner. So what is a showstopper? A showstopper is an impediment which stops you. But there are certain impediments which also slows you down. So roadblock is just one of the kind of impediments.